it's like to lose. Feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail nonetheless. It's frightening. Turns the legs to jelly. I ask you, to what end? Dread it? Run from it? Destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here. Or should I say, I am.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
We are here. We are live, y'all. We are live. Hope everybody's doing well. It's a little late. But I got to get this in. Going on 1:30 here on the East Coast, Charlotte, North Carolina. Shalom, Israel. Shalom, black people. Got some things on my mind. I was just finishing up watching the lead attorney. Shout out to the lead attorney. Shout out to AV. Shout out to Geraldo. Zuninga. Talking about this DAEJHANAE Jackson. Talking about the Shanquella Robinson murder down in Cabo, Mexico. So Lee did an interview with Geraldo, and it seems to me there's more questions than answers, and a lot of the questions are coming from so much conflicting information that's coming out. And I just want everybody just to consider we're Americans, man. And we're innocent until proven guilty. That applies to these young adults as well. And I'm not with that mob rule and we're automatically convicting them, and we're talking about sentencing in another country for crimes. We don't even know what the crimes are yet. It's unfortunate. It's a tragedy what happened to Shanquella. Not saying it wasn't. Not saying what we know thus far from the video. Somebody's responsible. We know that. But I think it may be a little bit more to the story. We saw a snapshot of the event, and we're trying to formulate or postulate theories based on a snippet of what happened. And I just don't think or I do think that these kids, these young adults, I gotta stop calling them kids, these young adults deserve their due process. And then I mean that due process before they any extradition that may or may not occur. Because we're making things seem as if it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to Mexico. We don't know that yet. And we need to be clear on the process. And I'd really like to hear the perspective of a criminal lawyer who may have some extradition experience. Just to give us an overview of how that process is supposed to happen. I read the case law myself. I'll post it in the description after I'm done here, so anybody can read that case law themselves. There's a process. It's not a foregone conclusion. But I do have some questions. I'm a skeptic, and I'm not calling this guy a liar or not. I'm just saying that I think some of the information he may be bringing out, maybe the sources aren't credible that he's getting it from, and it's conflicting with some earlier statements he said, or that have been attributed to him. I don't speak Spanish, so I can't say the man said it or not. But people are crediting him with certain things that are being said, and some of those things conflict with each other. The timeline, I've heard 3 different timelines. The original timeline was 3:15 was the time of death. The friend said he got there at 3:30. She was still alive, so we questioned that. He was lying. Then it comes out, the police report said, oh, it was hours later. So if the police report is true, that means the boy might have been telling the truth. Then another timeline comes out earlier this week, attributed to Geraldo, that sometime now the timeline is shifted from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. that Saturday morning. Right? So which puts the boy back in the hot seat, because that means when he got there, that means that the police had already, were they still there? Was the nurse still there? Was the Red Cross still there when he got there? And they just left the body there with the kids? I mean, and then the one story was the kids weren't even allowed to go back in the house while the police / security guards were there. Also, while the nurse was there / doctor, and the Red Cross was there. So while those people were there trying to resuscitate her, the young adults, the Cabo Six, we'll call them, they had to wait outside. So they were just standing outside for hours. It's a lot of questions. Like, we're not getting a clear presentation of the timeline. This guy's supposed to be an investigative reporter. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I would like for him to present a more linear timeline so we can understand and follow his logic. Because right now it's a lot of stuff that's just up in the air. We don't know the timeline, and everybody's speculating. Then he said tonight that the police already had decided that the kids were lying, right? That the Cabo Six were lying. Then why did they let the kids leave? Why did they not detain the kids based on that? Why did he said they had to wait for the autopsy. Well, the first official report we got, supposedly, was that there was no foul play, right? The autopsy was out at that point, and there was no foul play. Then it changed once it started going viral. So when did they decide these kids were lying, and when did that happen? From my understanding, it didn't happen until after that video went viral. Up until the video went viral, it was alcohol poisoning and no foul play. And we're talking about weeks went by, a couple of weeks, right? You see what I'm getting at? There wasn't no rapid changes in the story until the video went viral. And I guess the story came out, which was right around the same time. And dad is saying some things that are concerning. We heard that, oh, they used her credit card. They took some money from her, right? That's what we heard. Dad was interviewed Monday morning on Antoine Daniels' show, rather. Not McDaniels, Daniels, I believe. Antoine Daniels. Antoine Daniels asked him about the money, and dad said, I don't know nothing about no missing money, and I have access to her credit cards. He didn't know nothing about it. It was also said on tonight's show that the family is hiring private investigators. They're gonna do an autopsy. The girl is already buried. So how are they doing an autopsy? Are they going to exhume the body? Like I said previously, if it had been my child, we wouldn't have had that funeral until that autopsy was done. As soon as that body got back to the stateside, we would have had to have somebody look at it. Somebody here in the United States. That's just me as a father doing my due diligence. I kind of jumped into this, y'all. I am V Ben Israel, the People's Champ. This is the People's Podcast. I'm so glad y'all could be here. Thank you. V is real. I'm not gonna pull no punches. I'm gonna ask some tough questions because some things ain't making no sense to me. And I said ain't on purpose instead of aren't or isn't. But they are not making any sense. And all of this information is supposedly coming from one man. Shouldn't it be a consistent story? We hear how things operate in Mexico with the judicial system, with the police, blah, blah, blah. Why do we think this man is so upstanding? Why do we think that? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Sorry, I didn't have my camera on, y'all. I really wasn't paying attention. But I don't get it. It's not coming, for the most part, the information that's coming out of Cabo is coming from one person. Then why is the story changing? And why are we getting conflicted information? And why is nobody asking? We are immediately jumping to these kids need to spend life in a Mexican prison. he gave us some new information that the body was moved from upstairs to some family room. Who did that? Who are they saying did that? Supposedly, they got more information, video or audio. Shanquella and DAEJHANAE, I guess, were on their way to Cabo, and there's an audio recording. Where did that audio recording come from? Because if the kids weren't detained, where did it come from? Did they get that audio recording before the kids left, before these young adults left? Or did they get it after everything started going viral when they were back here in the States and somebody's snitching and trying to cover their own tracks? I'm very interested in that. He also said they interviewed the dad. I don't know why dad's testimony would be relevant. Again, Monday morning on the Antoine Daniels show, Dad said, "I don't know them." Also, I was concerned about Dad's conversation on that show because everything Dad said about his daughter was linking back to high school. We talk about a decade ago. This girl was 25 years old. He was speaking. He didn't have any recent memories that he was sharing with us. Everything he was sharing was from 10 years ago. Well, is Dad and the mom still together? And how involved was Dad in his daughter's life? Whereas that would explain why nobody, because he said, oh, nobody called him. Why would they call him? They didn't know him from his own mouth. But they did go over there to the mama's house. So that suggests that they knew the mama, or they had some understanding on how to get in touch with the mama. Right? See, this is why it's important to get a lawyer, people. Get a family attorney and have everything ran through that attorney and let them guide the process so you don't have individuals in the family, the dad, the cousin, this person, that person. Everybody's talking reckless and they don't know nothing. Right? Just because you're a father or a parent means that anybody's giving you any special information. He said, Dad, he being Dad, admitted nobody is talking to him. I wonder why that is. But all of a sudden, this reporter gets an interview, or somebody down in Mexico in Cabo gets an interview with Dad, and Dad says that there was a relationship with DAEJHANAE and Shanquella some kind of way. What does that mean? What does femicide mean? Right? Let me get that real quick. Bear with me a second, y'all. Let me pull up that definition. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I want y'all to understand why I'm confused. Femicide is an unusual word. So here's what femicide means. Anybody can Google this. That's what I did. Femicide, hold on, is the killing of a woman or girl in account of her gender. We are very concerned with her. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. I can't see very well, y'all. Let me start over. The killing of a woman or a girl, in particular, by a man and on account of her gender on account of her gender. So, femicide means a man killed a woman, and particularly because she was a woman. That's what the definition of femicide means here, according to Google, here in the United States. But that doesn't mean it means it's the same thing in Mexico. What are they saying? Let me see if I can get a definition. Let me see if I can specifically put Mexico in there. Maybe I've never looked up a meaning of a word from Mexico. So, all right. So here's what it says. It comes right up, and I searched for Mexican femicide meaning, and Google pulls this right up. It becomes a crisis, or it became or becomes a crisis in Mexico. Femicide falls into two categories: intimate and non-intimate femicide. The former refers to the killing of a woman by current or ex-partners, while the latter is the killing of a woman by people whom they had no intimate relationship. Well, that definition is a little bit even more vague than what we was getting from Geraldo. So what are we saying? The killing of a woman by a current or ex-partner. So are we saying that they were part of the Tea Party? They were. I mean, well, no, not the Tea Party. Well, they was part of the Skittles. Is that what we're saying, or is that what Mexico is saying? And that's where all the animosity came from, because the family members haven't confirmed that or said anything to that effect. And I would like to know how the people in Mexico were able to make that determination. Right? I really want to know. Again, our definition says it needs to be a man or a woman. The Mexican definition doesn't say it that way, but it seems to kind of be, what do they count as a partner? Do they count women or a woman as a partner in Mexico? Or are they counting men and women as partners? How do they determine what's a partner? We need answers to that question. Everybody hears that word and we're just like, oh, like y'all know what it means. I've never heard that word before now. And I'm very cute. Again, we're talking about another country. How they interpret it is going to be different from how we interpret it anyway. And then, like I said on my podcast the other night, I think some things are getting lost in translation. And that's what it seems to be. Things are getting lost in translation. So, um, so we go from alcohol poisoning to there's no problem, everything's fine, to a month later, it's femicide, right? And they got all of these alternative sources of another video or another audio recording or some kind of recording evidence all of a sudden, but we ain't heard it yet, it hasn't come out. How did they get that evidence? Now, topic of tonight's show for me was originally going to be, is DAEJHANAE even being detained. I find it again, only person that's saying she's been detained is Geraldo. And he said that within less than 12 hours of it. She was supposedly arrested late Monday night. People were reporting on that Tuesday morning that she had been arrested or detained. How did he get that information so fast? And nobody in the United States can confirm this. We talk about the United States now. We not Mexico is out the picture right now. They submitted their extradition request to the United States. Now it's in the United States' hands. So the FBI went out and allegedly detained DAEJHANAE, and she's entitled to a hearing. And at the hearing, they have to present all of the evidence. Mexico does, saying why they want her to come face charges in their country. They have to show the evidence. So if they can't prove that case, she doesn't get extradited. That's the law here in the United States, as far as I've read it. And anybody can pull that law up. I'll post it in the description once I finish. We have an extradition process. It's not automatic. You know, Mexico, everybody's making it seem like it's automatic. I mean, even in the beginning, Geraldo reported, oh, Interpol picked her up. Interpol doesn't operate on United States soil. I said that, which I thought it was strange. For somebody who's an investigative reporter, you need to be more accurate about what you're saying. Sir, I appreciate what you're doing, but you need to be accurate. This ain't Mexico you're dealing with. You're dealing with the United States now, and we require a higher level of accountability. Everybody wants to thank you and send you money because you ain't gave us nothing. You haven't said nothing that can be verified. That's the way I look at it, as independently verified. Everybody's citing you as the source, and you're citing who? Your sources that we know to be corrupt. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sending you no money. Now, hey, this stuff checks out, I'll send you a couple dollars. But I'm not sending you no money right now because ain't nothing checking out. And it's only you. We should be able to at least verify here in the United States that this girl has been detained. She's not a terrorist. She's not no international terrorist where they need to keep a secret. Okay? She ain't the first person to be picked up by the feds, okay? And if they leak any information to people back there in Mexico, it would also be getting leaked to people here in the United States. CNN, MSNBC, all of these major news organizations, they have contacts in the government. They got somebody that can say, hey, I have an unnamed source that can confirm she has been detained. I heard it was reported earlier that the girl Winter, was the one that was from Connecticut, not DAEJHANAE. But yet, we're getting tonight that DAEJHANAE was picked up in Connecticut. Somewhere in Connecticut. No city, somewhere in Connecticut. And the people in the house that she was in Connecticut, they ain't saying nothing. They've been talking this whole time. Because supposedly, the people in Connecticut are the people who released the video. Right? That's supposedly who released the video originally. The people up north. So now all of a sudden they got quiet. All these people have been talking the whole time for this last month. That's where all these conspiracy theories have come from. There's 3 videos. There's another video that ain't nobody seen with Winner doing some kind of finishing move on her, right? The mama had the video, but ain't nobody, mama ain't released the video, and the police got the video. And okay, well, if the FBI got that video, they would have charged Winter. That hasn't happened to our knowledge. They've announced the charge on DAEJHANAE, but why didn't they? If they had this video, again, this is my point. There's a lot of stuff coming out. I think we need to slow our horses and put the tiki torches up, because these kids deserve a due process. Somebody let those kids leave. Somebody of authority told those kids to leave. Now, I'd be interested in what Geraldo got to say about that. What about with those police? I mean, he got a lot of people he could be talking about. There was a nurse / doctor there. There were Red Cross people there. There was security guards / police officers there. And then later, some more magistrate police came, the detectives, I guess, from, the prosecutor's office. So all of those, so how did the maid end up finding the body Sunday? How did that happen? How did somebody end up finding the body? Because that's what we were led to believe. The kids just left her there. And the maid found the body, and all this stuff happened later. So what are we in, a multiverse? It's two conflicting timelines. Oh, they stole her money, and they used her money to get home, and then supposedly they called dad, and dad sent them some money. I ain't heard dad say that. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Right? Dad had money like that. Why he ain't hop his ass on the plane and just go down there? That's what I would have did as a father. You sitting here in Charlotte for? We got an international airport. Fly your ass down there and find out what's going on with your child. That's just me. But again, everybody, y'all want to turn volunteers into victims and victims into martyrs. Some of these people are willing participants in this foolishness. We need all the information to come out. Has this young lady been arrested? We need to be able to confirm that, independent of Geraldo. Everything can't be Geraldo says or Geraldo told me. We're in the United States. I don't need to listen to him explain the United States process for extradition in Spanish. He don't know our process. Because what he said is, they're going to decide, they're going to look at the evidence, and they're going to decide. No, they're going to have a hearing. That's how we do things here in the United States. There is going to be a hearing, sir. Ain't no judge that's going to decide by himself. There is going to be a hearing according to the U.S. extradition law. But that ain't what he said. He make it seem like, they're just going to decide in a couple of weeks and they're going to send it back to us. This new evidence that he said tonight that he really couldn't talk about, but he hinted at. When did he get it? Was it gathered prior to the kids leaving Mexico? Did they get somebody's phone? And if they got somebody's phone, how the hell did they hack into that phone in less than 30 days? Can't even do that shit here in the United States. So please tell me where that phone's videos and audio recordings came from. Or did somebody call back down there talking too much and y'all recorded the conversation? And is that information or evidence even admissible here in the United States court? Because those kids weren't being detained officially. And I don't think they have Miranda, or some equivalent of Miranda in Mexico. But you have a right to remain silent here as a United States citizen. How does that apply to their whatever statements or because they talk too much. Whatever things they may have said down there in Mexico, is that stuff going to be admissible? If they said something to a Mexican police officer, can that evidence be used here in the United States court for the purpose of extradition? Again, I gave the example of Myrtle Beach on my last podcast on this. Right? What if this happened in Myrtle Beach? The police would have showed up, and the police would have called 911 immediately. They also would have detained everybody. That means everybody would have been read their rights. You have the right to remain silent. They would have been in custody, right? Now, if the kids keep talking beyond that point, everything they say is admissible. But if they don't say nothing, then it ain't admissible. And anything they say prior to their rights being read is not admissible. Okay? But it's international, so that's what makes it tricky. That's why we need to get a criminal lawyer up here on the internet talking about this, and somebody particularly with experience with these extradition hearings. Because everybody, and I mean everybody, talking about this really doesn't understand what's going on. We already skipping to the sentencing. Oh, she's going to get 30 years. Oh, we don't know what happened. We don't know if she died as a result of the fight. Just because they had a fight, supposedly there was another story. Supposedly something happened after the fight, which caused the spinal injury. And that's what the second video was supposed to show. But now, what are we saying? These kids have a right. These Cabo 6 has a right to due process. They are American citizens. We just don't make assumptions because we saw a snapshot of an event. And they want to put the kid that took the video, oh yeah, he needs to go to jail too. Why? You know how many, go to World Star Hip Hop. You know how many people record videos of fights every day? So we're going to start locking people up for that? That's the world we live in now? I'm sorry, I need some water. What are we saying? Again, I want justice for Shanquella. But the Cabo 6, they're entitled to justice too. There was a kid standing in the kitchen. He's supposed to go to jail? Why? The guy recording the video was supposed to go to jail. The guy that came late, that was said he was rubbing her head, he came late. He's supposed to go to jail? What are their crimes? Please tell me. Please tell me. I'd like to know. I didn't have my comments on. I see I got a couple of viewers, man. Hey, hit me up in the chat if you're here, still here. Or if I'm just rambling. Let me know what's going on. Wait a minute. I might got one already. Hold on. Looks like Joseph. How did I get in your recommended videos? I don't know, Joseph. That's up to the algorithm. I don't know exactly how that happened. Don't know. Don't know. I may be one of the few people that's live right now, so maybe just happened organically. I don't know. I'm glad you're here. If you're interested in this topic, I appreciate you listening to me speak on it. There's so much that's unknown. So right now, I want these kids, these young adults, to be brought in safely. So hopefully, if somebody's got them consulting with attorneys, and when they are charged, if they are ever charged for whatever crimes, or, whatever, they turn themselves in a peaceful manner and nothing happens to them. Because I don't want nothing to happen to these kids and then we find out a whole nother story that what we think happened really didn't happen. That would be even more tragic. Um, these 20-year-old kids, 25, spending 30 years in a Mexican prison, that's a life sentence. That might be a death sentence. Um, I don't want to see that. If it's not necessary, I want it to be a thorough case. I hope some of this stuff starts coming out and it's televised and not swept under the carpet, so to speak, and we get to hear the truth. Because again, the cousins and the homegirls and uh, some of the Cabo Six themselves, everybody's been saying things that and it's a mess. It's a mess. We need to start getting some information from credible sources, and unfortunately, there isn't none. Like I said, even if the girl was arrested by the FBI in Connecticut, somebody else was in that house with her. They not talking? I mean, come on. If somebody, the FBI come in here and run up in here right now and take me out of here, my sister is going to say, yeah, they took him out of here. She is going to say that. Come on now. They've been talking this whole time. Now, all of a sudden, it's quiet. So then they got a hotel. So he mentioned, oh yeah, they changed hotels or something, and they were trying to evade the police. Why would they be evading the police when y'all let them go and weren't even looking for them at that point? Y'all told them to go. Y'all had made the report, so it was alcohol poisoning or and no foul play. Why would they run? You already said they could leave. So now we're trying to change the story. And he himself, even if he is getting this information from his sources, he should be questioning this. Why are y'all telling me different things? Since you were nearly a 30-year investigative reporter, you got all this experience. I expect better information to come out in any language. That's me. And I'm thinking about this from as a father. I'm a grandfather. I got 4 kids and a grandchild. Something happened to my kids. Somebody got we gonna be asking some questions. I'm not gonna be on YouTube trying to make it about me and how sad I am and look what they did to me, and I ain't gonna be doing all that nigga shit. And Negro spirits, you pray for me, and God, but God bless you with all that money, but you ain't got no lawyer. Here's what I think. I'm gonna be raw tonight, man. I'm gonna bring that old V back. Here's what I think. I said it earlier. Mom and dad ain't together no more. They probably been separated or Negro divorce where you ain't together but you still married kind of thing for some years now. Dad wasn't in as involved with his father, with his daughter as he's letting on. So the sister, as dad said, has control of the GoFundMe. We don't know what the sister's doing. So the sister may have already a private investigator, and she may have already gotten a family attorney. We don't know because dad don't know because he ain't in communication with his other daughter and his ex-wife or current wife. They should be on one page and have one spokesman, so all the information coming out from one person in the family. And it seems to be that the sister has the most sense. Let her talk. Let's get everything from her. Because dad has just been everywhere, just talking, saying the same shit. And then he goes, I ain't got no special information. I only know what y'all know. So all he's doing is regurgitating the same information that we're getting from Geraldo. That's all he's doing. He hearing the same rumors and gossip and speculation that we hearing, and he throwing it back. He throwing it back to the Mexicans now. And they gonna use that as evidence to convict this girl. Did that make sense? Maybe that flies in Mexico, but that's not justice here in the United States. Or am I missing something? Am I missing it? Y'all tell me. What am I missing? So I think my sister and mom are running the show, right? And again, this is why dad only, when he telling his stories, go back and watch the interview that he did Monday morning with Antoine Daniels. He was talking, he had no recent story, not one. Even the picture he shared was from like 10th grade. This girl is 25 years old. And if you so an involved father, can we get a more recent pic? Can we get a recent story? Tell us about her business, what she's been doing lately. Why you don't know her friends that she's been friends with since college? You skipping over college and going back to high school because that's what you know. I don't think he really knows his daughter since high school. That's what I'm hearing. He needs to stop talking. Get off the internet. You sit in your car, you sit in your own car with a face mask on by yourself. Why? Let me not do that. It's not important. I don't like nigger-ish crap, y'all. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of. For people who are supposed to be college educated and business people and all of, this is hood rat shit. This is standard hood rat. I'm a hair braider. I'm selling bundles and lashes, and I got some PPP money. Watch that come out. It's gonna be some funny shit. Wait, I've been right thus far, y'all. Because remember, I told y'all, as soon as the story broke and they said alcohol poison, I said, that ain't right. That don't even make no sense. These young adults ain't never heard about no alcohol poisoning. A medical professional gave them that jargon. They didn't make that up on their own. And to me, the evidence of that is they talk too much. They not savvy enough to have medical jargon, but not to shut the fuck up. Like the old man says, the way you do one thing is how you do everything. So they messy as hell. But you want me to know they savvy enough to have medical jargon, but somebody had to pay for their vacation. I mean, come on, y'all, come on now. Let's be real. Let's be real. There's too many questions. We need to start asking these questions and not just accepting everything this man says is gospel. And I'm not saying grill him with the third degree. I'm just asking some basic questions. Okay, you telling me you got an audio recording. When did you receive that? When did you receive that audio recording? Before they left or after they left? Why were they allowed to leave? Which set of police let them leave? Was the body found by the maid on Sunday morning? If so, how did that happen when almost 10 people was working on the body the day before? The kids had to go somewhere because, again, it was reported they couldn't go back in the house. So they had to go get a hotel room. What else they was going to do? Sleep outside? If what dad is saying is true, that they didn't use the girl's credit card, that means they had their own money. and they had enough money to get their own hotel. So that changes the dynamic of the story too, right? It's just a lot of unanswered questions, and again, I'm not even 100% convinced the girl has been arrested, detained, is in FBI custody. There should be a way to verify that she's not an international terrorist. Can we verify that? That's what I want to know. That's what I got, man. That's what I got. Y'all send this man the money y'all want if y'all want to. I'm not gonna be the one doing that. That's not what I'm gonna do. I need some more. I need some of this information to start being checked out. It needs to line up with somebody on the American side, especially things he don't know about. He does not know the U.S. extradition process. Because remember the report, it was a report that came out that the Mexicans thought DAEJHANAE had a panties on her head. She was wearing a bonnet, but they didn't know what the bonnet was, and they thought it was panties. You know, so a lot of things is getting lost in translation. It's crazy. And how is that affecting us on this end? He ain't got nobody down there to speak English that can translate directly for him. That's more familiar with what's going on. I mean, I got questions. I got questions. I'm about to jump off here, man. Unless y'all want me to keep going, man. If y'all want me to keep going, I'll stay on a little longer. Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to keep going. Remember, Facebook, I can't see y'all until you actually leave a comment. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end this now. Again, my question is, it's just simple. Has she been arrested? Can we verify that here? And I don't see, somebody on another stream was directing everybody to call Mexico. Call Mexico for what? They're done at this point. Mexico is out of the loop at this point. Everything is on the U.S. side. So if y'all going to call anybody, call Charlotte FBI. Call the Charlotte FBI or call the American Embassy if you just need to call internationally. Those are the 2 places I would call. Charlotte FBI and the United States Embassy in Mexico. That's where I would call. See if we can generate some credible information. That's what I got, man. That's all I got. Hopefully some of this makes sense what I'm saying. I appreciate y'all ride with me. Stay tuned. As I hear more, I'll get back at you. My name is V. Ben Israel. I'm the People's Champ, and I'm out.
You're all a bunch of fucking assholes. You know why? You don't have the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. So, what that make you? Good? You're not good. You just know how to hide, how to lie. Me, I don't have that problem. Me, I always tell the truth, even when I lie. So say good night to the bad guy.